Did everybody consent to being recorded? Are we waiting on Jim and Bill? Or are they here?
I think,
Here.
is Michelle
Bill is
here?
here.
I don't know if Michelle's here yet.
I'm here.
Okay.
Michelle's here. How about, Bill, are you here?
Bill is here.
Hi, Bill. Okay. And Tom and Jim?
They're both here. I see them.
Okay, great. All right, then what I need is a motion to adjourn our executive session and to rejoin public. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Okay, that's Tom and a second from Christine. All in favor? Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay. All right, so Jim, if you could bring up the agenda.
So, Judge.
We don't have to wait for it. We can say the Pledge of Allegiance while we wait. Why don't we do that? All right.
Sure.
So, all right, I have the flag. Please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I really do have a flag too. Here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of
of
the
the
United
States of America
America.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. I don't see the agenda yet, though.
Okay.
I just want to welcome everybody to our meeting and thank everybody for coming and ask for your patience tonight. This is obviously different than any other night we have ever held a meeting.
Okay, bear with me for a second.
Of course.
I'm sorry, I was talking about the recording before and I realized that nobody was hearing me.
No.
Okay. All right, I'm about to share my screen.
Okay. There we go.
Okay.
Okay, well, obviously we don't have to cover evacuation procedures. Okay, but that does bring us down to the approvals. So first, we have the Board of Education meeting minutes of February 24th, 2020. So I am looking for a motion to approve the Board of Education meeting minutes of February 24th, 2020. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion.
Linda, and a second?
A second.
That's Xavier. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so we have FYIs for the budget appropriation reports for general school lunch and special aids funds as of 2/29/2020. We have an FYI for budget transfers. We have an FYI of revenue status reports as of 2/29/2020. We have a treasurer's report, January 2020. So I need a motion to approve the treasurer's report for January 2020. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion.
Tom and a second from Michelle. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. That brings us,
Jen, just a reminder to you guys and to anybody who's joined us, if you follow along with board docs, everything we're doing is a public document. You can open at your convenience. So if you're not, you should be able to open this on your own. If you have
right,
any
it should be
questions.
public, right, it should be a public page.
Yep.
And people can follow along. And thank you for saying that. Obviously, this is all so odd, truthfully. I hardly know what to say. So, okay, so that brings us down to the last one of our approvals for the warrants. So I need a motion to approve the warrants that were certified 2/26/2020 and 3/11/2020. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Linda, thank you. And a second?
I'll second it.
Christine, thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all opposed? Very good. Thank you. Joanne, did you get all of that? She must be muted. Okay, that's all good though. All right, so we're going to
Joanne?
move on. All
Joanne,
good?
hold on, I'm just looking to make sure she's here.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, that's good.
What's there?
I unmuted myself. I can hear you and I got it all. Thank you.
Okay, very good, Joanne. Thank you for checking in. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay, Jim and I spoke earlier. I think communications and announcements we're going to save for a more normal time and place, I'm assuming, unless anybody had anything they really needed to say. Okay, Jim, to you. Oh, okay, no, to public commentary. Okay, Jim, did you have anything you wanted to say, though?
Yeah, I just wanted to throw out to the board and to everybody who's joined us, just a thank you for your patience and understanding. This has been very challenging, and you know, staying positive is something that I will continue to promote. But it's upsetting in so many ways when I'm standing in a school building and there's nobody around, and I'm gonna get upset here, but just please be patient. Please continue being as understanding as you have been, and we're in this to make sure every kid is going to get what he or she needs until we can open those doors again. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Very
And that
good.
goes for
Well,
our staff. We want to make sure that our staff members are well taken care of, and that you know, they understand the stress that's put on them as well, and they are trying their rear ends off to make this work for their kids. I just want to make sure that everybody, you know it, but I want to say it. I want to say it personally.
absolutely. And I,
Thank you
you
for saying
know,
it.
as you know, several of us reported before too, you know, we're hearing from different parents who are, you know, saying that in the midst of this incredibly challenging and unprecedented time, that the school district has been doing a remarkable job of providing communications and giving everybody a piece of, you know, solid ground to stand on, knowing that the school district is doing everything possible. So thank you to you and your team and everybody that's been involved in that effort.
Can I just quickly say that I just want to say to the whole community that to continue to lean on each other, and if anyone feels like they don't have somebody to reach out to, like, pick one of us, because
Absolutely. Yeah, that's well
Yeah.
said, Christine.
Also know that it's teachers, staff members, but we also have a very talented mental health support team that is available on a moment's notice. Drop them an email, reach out to them. They will be there.
Yeah, we're lucky. We have a great community and they're really all pulling together at this time. And, you know, I'm sure people have heard of the wonderful thing that Teresa Sullivan did in terms of collecting funds to, you know, help bring some meals to the hardworking hospital staff up at Huntington Hospital. It's things like that that keep you going, you know? So.
Just a little photograph sent to me by a few little ones, just
Oh,
chalking
that
up
was
the wall.
cute.
Made my day.
Yeah, that
So,
was sweet.
Anybody that wants to continue sending those things my way, I will put them up immediately.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right, so I'm going to move on to public commentary. It's going to be an odd public commentary section, but if anybody has a comment to make who's out there, you have 3 minutes. Your comment should be geared towards the items for discussion and action, although, you know, at this
All
point,
right,
yeah.
Just there is a feature here that allows one to raise a hand, and I just noticed that James Graber did that, so that's an excellent idea in terms of just some organization here.
Oh, great. Where is that feature?
It is on the taskbar, I believe. My screen is being
Oh,
shared.
I
so
see.
can't
Participants share screen. Wait, let me see, it went away.
If you click on the area where it says participants, then you can raise your hand there.
Oh, very good. Okay, thank you, Beth. That's where I will find it. All right, so I'm going to open it up to any of the public that has joined us. If you have a comment, now would be the time. There's another public commentary section at the end of this meeting's agenda. Is there anybody out there that had anything they would like to say to bring to the board?
James raised his hand, so I know he's ready. Just unmute yourself.
Okay.
I feel like I'm a part of history here.
Hey, James. I kind of
Hello.
miss you. I almost wish we were in the auditorium just so I could see you.
I feel like, I feel like this is a sense of normalcy for me to speak a little bit during the public commentary. So
For us also.
So I just, I guess for the record, James Graber, a teacher in the district, a parent in the district, resident of the district, and the president of the Teachers Association. And I just wanted to let everybody know that, the ATH has been working with Mr. Polanski and really all of the administrators in Huntington to work out an acceptable and educationally sound way to try to deal with what is an absolutely incredible change in how we are presenting instruction. And while we all know that this is, distance learning is in no way a replacement for what actually takes place in our classrooms on a daily basis, I'm really proud of the work that the district has done and that the ATH has done in putting something together so quickly, and I think that it has a lot of efficacy to it. We're getting some interesting feedback. There's obviously a lot of challenges, but everybody's working together on this, and I'm just happy to be a part of it and wanted to say, thank you to Jim for all his hard work. This guy has been really incredible throughout all this. So thank you.
Thank you, James, and thank you to all the teachers and staff members for trying to keep us afloat. We appreciate everything you're doing.
And I'll just add, on a moment's notice, he is in my office, James, and on the phone, we have been talking basically incessantly to make sure that we're doing what we need to do. And anybody who's not proud to be a part of this community right now just doesn't see on the front lines what's happening here. It's really been, this is when we come together and make it happen. And hopefully this too shall pass. It will be some time, but I'd like to once again express my sincerest gratitude to every staff member, every teacher, every staff member, every administrator, every board member, every community member for just banding together and making a very difficult situation a little bit more bearable.
You're here. All right. Well, that is going to bring us to our items for discussion and action. So, Jim, I know you're going to give us a brief budget presentation, given the, how changeable things are.
I spoke to Jen beforehand. There is my standard instruction and staffing presentation. I don't feel that it's prudent to go through an 80-slide presentation at this point, based on the uncertainty involved in fiscal matters as related to education. I will move the presentation up. What it does, and I can open it up. Actually, I'm in the public view here. I can open it up, but the bottom line is what we did between the last meeting and this meeting is reduced our gap to about $540,000 with adding staff members and maintaining services and adding services. To present that now would be, I believe, not the most prudent thing on my part, because this whole budget process will almost certainly be looked at again in light of revised state revenue projections related to the current situation that we're dealing with, and everything I showed tonight may have to be redone. It will have to be redone in the very near future, and this is not a doom and gloom, but we're going to have to wait until we know exactly where we're going to be, and then a lot of things are going to have to be reevaluated and resituated. And that also includes the date of a budget vote. I imagine that may change. There are a number of ideas that are out there, one of which is pushing it out until June. There are a lot of unknowns that are out of our hands, and my goal at this point is to have my voice in the conversations, which it has been all along, and to make sure that anything that changes is shared with my staff, with the board, my staff, and the community as quickly as possible. So I will post it. The draft is already up there. I'll post the presentation, but like I said, unless the board wishes otherwise, I don't think it's necessary to go through the slide by slide at this point. It's all up there, including the staffing tables, but understand we're going to have to wait to see where we are in terms of new revenue projections, which are certainly going to be drastically lower than what we're facing right now. There are questions about whether aid payments are going to be made on time. There are questions as far as whether tax payments are going to be made on time, which brings up a whole, a number of different concerns. We borrow here at a very low interest rate, tax anticipation notes to pay some of our bills. If we default on those notes, that is not going to help us in terms of securing TANs for next year, buying the notes for next year. And if we don't receive our May payment, that's basically going to start us with nothing as we begin the 2021 school year. So I do imagine that adjustments will be made, but right now I do not have firm information as far as what they are. So I'll open up questions to the board.
I'm just wondering, what did it come down from? You said that it was reduced the budget gap to about, what did you say, 500,000, 400,000?
Hold on 1 second. I'll put that back up in a minute.
No problem.
Just bear with me.
Take your time.
Not that I don't have the screens open already.
We got nothing but time, Jim.
That's true, but I see little ones out there. All right, so let me,
Does anybody hear my dog snoring?
remember, we are
She
being
is.
recorded. Holly.
No, Polly, behave yourself.
And Sarah just joined us as well for the public session.
Hi, Sarah. That's nice.
Jim, why are you looking for that? Has the town led you to believe that we're not going to be paid on time?
No, but I've heard it out there mentioned a couple of times that what they're thinking about is trying to make things easier for folks who are now in a difficult employment situation. That's why federal tax payments were extended. That is, if they extend the property tax payments, they just need to make sure they understand that will impact schools considerably. And I also understand that people may have difficulty meeting their obligations at this point.
Right.
All right, bear with me for a second. I'm gonna move to one slide here. If I can do it. I know you're thinking we should make them this fast all the time. You know that's what you're thinking.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, look at this. We could do it this like this.
Long as he can go backwards as fast as he can go forwards.
Sure.
Okay, so that's
I see.
where we were on. That's where we were on March 9th, with the almost 1.369 million gap,
Oh, wow.
and the changes we made. And again, these are all probably moot points at this stage of the game.
I know, but still, you can see that you were doing some very creative, number work.
These are the expenditures that we reduced.
Those are slides 69 and 70 for the public.
Yep, and they can see this too. This should be on the screen. This is
That's
7. So this didn't lower the budget. This 97,743. This actually offset the levy, and actually and we also contributed $200,000 of TRS reserve funding, which is not reflected here, but would also offset the levy.
Mhm.
And this is where we are, where we would have been under normal circumstances today.
Yeah, sheesh.
So 540,000 would be where we.
Yeah. To be under normal circumstances, if only.
And to be clear, it's not just our budget situation that's messed up. I mean, right now we would be anticipating any day having a state budget. I don't know that that's anywhere.
Well, that's where the challenge lies. We don't know what they're doing at this point. There's been discussion about revised revenue forecasts, and how even a week ago the state was down $4 billion in tax revenues and an additional $3 billion in other places. So they're in the hole for billions of dollars at this point. And how this is going to play out, it is going to require some federal assistance. And they are back and forth bickering now about a federal stimulus package that has to address education, where school districts will have difficulty surviving, to be honest.
Then it has to, because they can't just let a whole generation of school kids, they can't fail a whole generation of school kids.
Agreed.
Not
So
acceptable.
So without spending too much time on this, I will post it, but the description that goes, I mean, here's what the current draft budget to budget and tax rate would have looked like. But this, like I said, to spend a great deal of time on this doesn't make sense, because it's going to change. I believe it's going to change, but
Yeah.
if nothing else changes, the timing is going to change. So this may be something that is a little premature at this point, because I do believe that everything is going to be shifted to later in the year. Exactly how that's going to play out, I will let you know as soon as I know.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Jim, I have a question. In this, what you went over was your standard assessment of staffing changes at the elementary and secondary level. We're showing a little bit of a decrease to elementary, increase to secondary, net total increase a little bit. Is that due to anything other than normal population shifting?
Purely 100% enrollment. And we tried to shift those elementary positions in a manner that kept class sizes at reasonable levels in all schools. So sometimes there are breaks that don't make sense, and we try to fix it. And that happens during the year sometimes. So some of the changes are now to make those don't make sense breaks make more sense for 2021. So any changes you see there are purely enrollment and service need driven.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else have questions for Jim before we move on to the next item?
And for the board and anybody else who's going to review this, if you do have questions, I'm lonely here, so you're welcome to drop me an email and let me know that you have a question. I will absolutely answer it for you. But just sit tight, because we're going to experience some changes here.
Yeah, there's a lot of changes to come. Thank you very much, Jim.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing this. And like I said, I will post it immediately.
Okay,
All right, I'm going to go back to sharing board docs.
perfect. And that will bring us to our second item.
Wait 1 second. Let me get back.
Take your time. There we go.
All right, back up. Board docs back up.
Yeah. Oh, I'm trying to use my. Okay. So the second item for discussion and action is our building improvement fund, the capital reserve fund use proposition for May 19th, 2020 ballot. So we were, all of us at that last meeting where we were reviewing and discussing, we had a very good conversation about where the capital reserve funds could possibly go and how our money was best spent. Jim, is there anything that you want to say about this?
And just looking at the summary here, it reflects the conversation that we had on March 9th.
Yes.
So Joanne and I spoke earlier today, and one of the things that we do need to do as part of our standard budget process, we do need to get our first legal notice out, which reflects the capital reserve use proposition. And this money is already there. and it can't be used for anything else. We can't take it back and use it for general
Right.
instructional needs. So this money is ours and waiting to be used for this purpose. So if something changes, we can revisit it, but as per the standard timeline, we do need to move forward with this. So it does reflect, as we discussed at the last meeting, the piece of the roof at Huntington High School, the 2 boilers at Finley. Based on the conversation that we had about the classrooms and the estimates that George Austin put together, we can do the 2 rooms for $1 million, the reconstruction of the Jack Abrams Auditorium, the solar at Southdown, and this is basically going through purchase. And the other piece of it is a non-cost, but in order to make sure that our Finley Locker project, which would be done this summer, is aidable, we are adding in we're just shifting 20,000 into the hallways and floors, which is there anyway. We just need to be more explicit with it so we don't take any chances with not getting the aid back on the project. So that's not a cost, it's just a shift of 20,000 of the 600,000 approved last year for hallways, floor, abatement, etc.
Great.
So
Okay,
that's
so
why the 20 not in that column, the 20,000 is on the left. It's not included in the total.
I was just going to say Linda wasn't with us last time, so I just wanted to make
Right.
sure.
oh, Linda, that's right. I'm so sorry.
I know.
Of course.
That's okay. That's okay.
So should I get a motion and a second, and then we can ask any questions or have discussion, or do you want us to just discuss it now?
No, you can do the motion second.
Okay, so it is upon recommendation from the superintendent of schools that we approve the Building Improvement Capital Reserve Fund use proposition for May 19th, 2020 ballot. Can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Christine, thank you. And a second from Linda. Okay, so now if anybody has any questions or comments, things that they want to say, Linda, you may have some input since you didn't have a chance to be part of that
Board member.
discussion.
Comment, it's all exciting, especially the solar for me.
Me too.
And I know, and my question is, I think I know the answer. So unlike the budget, this will not change, right, Jim? Not subject to change other than the date that the public votes on it, the community votes,
And
potentially
I will
changing.
answer that with I believe so.
Okay.
I'm not taking anything off the table at this point.
Right, no, I know.
And I did, just to make sure that there was no reason to hold this back, I made a call to our council today based on the expectation for legal notice, but this money it's not in an account that's going to be damaged by what's happening on Wall Street. I'll leave it at that. We don't invest.
Okay. And it can't, again, as you said, can't be spent elsewhere, so we can't shift it. So
We cannot.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything to say?
I have a question. Jim, at the last meeting, I asked about looking into the idea of financing the rooftop solar to do more than one building. What became of that? Did you look at it? If so, what did you find?
I did. I sent you some information. I think it was, I'm trying to remember which update it was, like the last one or the one before it. There was no fiscal benefit. The only way we can finance this is either through a bond or via an energy performance contract. And the energy performance contract was not cost effective for us because there was really nothing else that we were going to be able to benefit from it. And it would add debt service. So there was an analysis. Kathy, you remember which update it was? You there? Kathy?
Having some technical difficulty. I wanted to pull up the analysis that I sent you. It had to be, I want to say 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago.
No, and I know what you're talking about. I guess I was asking just so that the public can hear what become of that.
Yeah, because the EPC, we have to pay them a fee, so that automatically adds to the cost of the solar, and then you have the interest on the loan. So basically, any savings we generated would be used to pay the loan. It's not going to help us pay our bill, right? Right now, if we own it, the savings we generate, we won't have a bill, an electric bill. With the EPC, we would still have an electric bill because we're using any savings to pay off the loan, and we wouldn't own it. I'm trying to remember, we wouldn't own it for 15 years, but till where it's ours, or 20 years. Whereas with buying it flat out, we'll own it after 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that, you know, there was really no cost benefit, because, you know, typically with the EPCs, you know, you're hoping to generate a savings then to invest into another project. But since we already did the LED lighting, that's just not the way it would work for us.
No, that's good. I appreciate you're looking into that. And that's really
No
just what I was looking for, was that
So
explanation.
I have it opened up, the details. If we finance the purchase of solar panels for 4 buildings, for example, using an EPC or an energy performance contract, the cost of all 4 schools would increase to $1.5 million plus interest due to the fee that the, whether it be ECG or whatever EPC company, whatever they receive, the district would have to be issued a tax-free bond for $1.5 million plus interest. Annual cost of the note would be approximately $100,000 plus interest. Current rate at the time was 2.6%. It probably came down now for 15 years. District would lose the rebate because it would go to an EPC contractor, so that's another fiscal impact. We'd be required to use the EPC company for monitoring maintenance over the 15 years of the bond for an annual fee of $25,000. And the board resolution, which would be required to use an EPC, it's not voter approved, so the district would lose 10% of the building aid. So there's just so many little pieces that just continue to bump up that price. If we just purchase them for $340 per building, it would be $1.36 million without any of the other little charges that would start to add up over the 15-year time frame.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that public description.
Yeah, and I
You're
have
very welcome.
one more question. Do they anticipate this, with purchasing them, that we'd make enough to produce the energy that they use at Southdown? Or it would be close? at least?
Again, I'm looking at the analysis that I asked Kathy to put together for me. It's a fully aidable project. It would take 6 to 7 years to recoup the money spent. Panels last
Right.
about 25 years. There's
Right.
also a rebate for about $50,000 per building, which wouldn't exist with EPC. Rebate amount changes every 6 months or so based on the money's left.
It would also pay, the only thing we'd have to pay is the fee. You know, your typical taxes and fees.
Right.
Right.
The energy that we generate at Southdown would eliminate the electric bill.
Okay, so
Sounds
there's,
like less cost-effective way.
yeah,
So Lynn,
So-
based on the solar
projection.
analysis
Yeah.
and how much sun hits the building,
Yeah.
it would take about 6 to 7 years to save the money that we're spending on the panels themselves.
Right, so for those 6, 7 years, you're paying off the panels, but you're not paying an electric bill in essence.
No, we're not paying off the panels because we just be buying.
Because we
panels.
bought them, right, but I'm saying
Right.
if you were to divide it out, that 340 over the 6 or 7 years, right? And then beyond that, other than taxes and fees, we're not really paying an electric bill,
Correct.
right? Okay, all right.
Right.
Great.
Okay, so did anybody else have any questions or comments?
I had chime in once. I think this is fiscally prudent management. I think this is great that we've been doing this bits and pieces rather than trying to float one large bond. But I'm scared that we don't know what's going to happen. What if they say that eventually we'll have to use this for everything that we've been going through over the last few weeks? I thought this was a great idea at the last board meeting, but is there any way that we can recall this if we have to?
There's nothing, I don't see an executive order coming that would say that we can use our capital monies for any other purpose, because this is not a board decision. This capital money, this package of capital monies and the projects, everything that goes along with the capital reserves is voter approved, so I don't see that happening. One of the things that I could see happening is, and if there is any silver lining here, and I don't know if it's silver, we're not open right now, so there's a lot of things that we're not spending on that we typically would be spending on. So there is going to be months worth of things adding up into a fund balance that we would never have at the end of the school year. I imagine that's going to be the case. I can't tell you right this second because we're still a work in progress. But what they might do is make an allowance for us to use our more than what would be their fund balance to start us off for the next year. So if anything, that would happen. They're not going to start putting school districts in a position where they can take voter-approved reserve monies and move it into general fund areas. And that's not fact. It's just something I would never expect to happen.
It would be especially unfair considering they've been telling us to
Pay them down.
Make our reserves lower.
Yeah.
Well, yes, and the fact that over the past 10 years, we have reduced our appropriated fund balance each year,
Yeah, on
so that,
purpose.
you know, we're not
Right.
we're not squirreling money away and then just using it to lower the tax levy for the following year. When I started here, our appropriations were much higher than they are now, and that was based on the last state audit suggesting that you need to be prudent with your reserves, and you need to make sure that you're budgeting accurately so you don't have hordes of fund balance left at the end of the year. And we have really done what the controller has asked us to do. You hit something like this and you wonder, well, you know, we're told not to
Right.
build up rainy day funds beyond a certain point. Well, here's a situation where that's going to hurt every district across the board. But I can
Yeah.
tell you almost for a fact that they would never put us in a position to start taking things out of our capital reserves.
From your mouth to the powers that be.
Yep. And you know what? If something changes, we'd have to reevaluate. So that's why,
Right.
you know, there's nothing set in stone right now, but I certainly feel more comfortable presenting this than I would the 80-slide budget presentation that preceded this.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
All right. Tom, did you have anything? I think you may be the only person we haven't heard from. Did you have any comment or question or anything?
No, I'm good. I'm good with everything that's here. It looks good, and
Very good.
very excited about the solar panels, like everybody else has mentioned. So
Yeah, I think we really are. All right, guys. We had a motion and a second. So all in favor to approve the Building Improvement Capital Reserve Fund use proposition for May 19th ballot? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, we could have used that thing too. Any opposed? No. Okay, so it was
Thank you,
7.
everybody.
Yep, there we go. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Oh, I keep thinking I can move down on this. It's like simple.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Jim, right back at you.
All right, this Moody's report, we were very excited to share this with you 4 weeks ago. And I guess it still doesn't hurt to share it now. This is not an actionable item. This is just something we wanted to share with you and the public. It's our Moody's report. We have probably about as high a rating on our financial condition for school districts. 2020 report is attached. Basically, our high rating has a great deal to do with a very low debt level. I can open it up here, I believe. It's a short report if anybody's interested in reading it. District's economy and tax base are very strong overall, aligned with its assigned rating of AA1. Cash balance has a percent of operating revenues on par with the U.S. median, remains stable. Fund balance is actually lower than the U.S. median, which is honest. That's something the taxpayers do want to hear, that we're not in a position where our fund balance is above that median. And again, our debt level is very, very low, and that contributes to most of this. So it's a good report in sum.
Congratulations. That is good news in the midst of a lot of bleak news.
Yes.
Okay, that brings us to Board Policy 5681. Did you want, we're not voting on any of these, correct?
These were on there before we actually hit the stage we're in now, but I figured for the initial read process, school safety plans, you can read the descriptions here if you haven't already. This reflects amendments to relevant New York State Commissioner regulations that change the manner in which we have to build and share our building level and district level emergency response plans. It also reflects a number of things that came up in a controller audit that raised several concerns, not specific to us, but that certain plans around the state were not as thorough as they should have been. So the policy ensures that we're going to be as thorough as we need to be.
Excellent. All right, we all got this. Did anybody have any comments or questions for Jim? All right, then we're going to move on to Board Policy 5741, drug and alcohol testing for school bus drivers.
So this, and we were I believe this was communicated with Huntington Coach as well. This is a required policy, and it was revised in a small way in terms of the language that was added to include information on the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse, which became mandate on January 6th.
Okay.
Can I just ask a school bus question since we're on school buses? Well, our contract with the bus company, we continue to pay it while they're not driving any children? Is that one of the savings that we might see?
That's a good question.
It's an excellent question, and Kathy and I have been in communication with Huntington Coach. Our contract basically dictates what we do. Right now, we are still paying them. One of the major questions that came up is if kids aren't here, is any expenditure on transportation aidable? So we don't know how long that's going to continue. You know, we certainly want, you know, we're trying to make sure that we have transportation available to us in the fall,
Right.
not because they would take it away, but because if they lose employees and they're not prepared to address what we need, that's a problem as well. So we're trying to find that happy median, but we're still in the process of evaluating that. As of right now, we are still paying.
All the dominoes, holy moly. Honestly.
The big questions we've taken care of. There are so many little questions that haven't even surfaced yet.
No,
But that one
obviously.
happened.
That's a good question though, Christine.
Thank you.
Yep.
We're waiting
Very good.
from the state whether or not we'll receive state aid. We're having conversations, the New York State Business Official Association's having conversations with the STD tomorrow to see if we continue to pay our transportation contracts, will they still aid it?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a burning question right now.
Oh, right, because
That
they
makes
may
a
not
big
even if you continue to pay, they may decide that they're not going to aid them anymore because school wasn't in
And
session.
that's a loss in revenue.
Uh,
Well, I can tell you that if the expenditures are not aidable, that's going to probably make the decision for
I was
us.
going to say that's going to affect your decision for sure.
Yep.
All right, thank you for that information, Kathy. Okay, folks, we're moving on to Board Policy 6121, Sexual Harassment in the Workplace.
Okay, you can see the reasons that this policy was revised, changes to law, recently lowered the standard for approving harassment from severe and pervasive to whether the conduct subjects an individual to inferior terms, conditions, or privileges of employment because of the individual's membership in one or more protected classes. And the statute of limitations was extended for filing. So basically, law supersedes policy anyway, but we did revise the policy to include all of the premises in the new law. And then there's a section below that shows some of the additional additions that help to clarify some of the requirements that we have to meet and some of the procedures that we need to follow.
Yep. Did anybody have anything to comment, questions on this policy? Okay, we're going to move down to Board Policy 6550, leaves of absence.
This reflects that law that appeared out of nowhere that an employee who is a registered voter may take up to 3 hours of paid leave to vote in certain elections. Our policy did not reflect that. Again, it doesn't matter because law supersedes policy anyway, but it does make sense for a policy to read correctly and based on current law and regulation. I will say that our employees did not abuse this privilege.
Which I greatly appreciate because it would be very disruptive on that day to have people dashing in and out, you know, or I guess would they have to take the whole day or they could just take a 3-hour paid leave, right? Up to 3 hours. Yeah, that's disruptive.
It was basically beginning of the day or end of the day, and if anybody took it, and they didn't just take it. There was an explanation attached to it, and it was nothing that really warranted any further questioning.
Yeah.
Nobody abused it.
That's really nice. Much appreciated. Okay, moving on to Board Policy 6562, employment of retired persons.
This is also very simple, a change to education law. Retired person in the past under the age of 65 would be eligible to work for a maximum salary of $30,000. That was increased to $35,000. Rather than have to change this policy every time a change is made moving forward, it now lists the to absorb anything. You see the last statement, the purchase
Yeah.
section of the law is listed as opposed to any specific dollar amount. So unless something else changes, we won't have to change it for this reason again.
That makes sense. Retired persons, you're talking about people who had taught in the school district and now are coming back from teaching, right? Is that what you mean? Or do you just mean retired persons older than?
People who have elected to retire, typically beyond the age of 55 or older, who have officially retired, can then re-enter. They can accept a comparable position, but they cannot, while receiving a pension, make more than, at this point, $35,000 a year.
Okay, and it's a position of public service, I see.
Right.
Okay, very good. All right, so moving on, board policy 7530, 7530R, which is the regulations, and 7530R.2, child abuse and maltreatment.
Okay, we've revised this many times during my tenure here. Among a few more minutia type items, there was a statutory change that expanded who in the district has the responsibility to report child abuse in an educational setting, and that includes those either employed by a school or, in our case, contracted to transport students. Also, some changes made to include a little bit more detail on, in terms of training on reporting. And there are 2 regulations that were changed as well in the same light.
Any questions for Jim about that? Okay. We're going to move on to board policy 7580 and 7580R, the dignity for all students.
Right, this was just changed. This is one of those things that morphs somewhat routinely. There was some concerns at schools across the state, not here, but that I know there were a number of articles that it was actually a situation where a wrestler was made to cut his hair, and it was a completely inappropriate action to have taken to make a child do that. That's one
They
example.
also kept a couple kids from graduating, actually, from walking in their graduation ceremonies because of their hair.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that prompted the changes to 7580, the law itself and our policy.
Very good. I'm glad that we haven't had an issue with it, but I'm also glad it's in writing. Okay, and finally, the administrative regulations 8260R, New York State Essa funded programs, complaints procedures.
Right, we had a policy. I'm sorry, I think I put them both in there. The 8260R that existed before now was titled Title I Complaints or Appeals. It was aligned with NCLB. This was redesigned to reflect the new Essa program.
Okay, so it's just realigning it then.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, any comments or questions about any of that? All right, folks, then we're moving on, I guess, to Ms. McCoy, right, for CSE, CPSE?
It is upon recommendation from the superintendent of schools that the Board of Education approve CSE, CPSE submissions as delineated.
All right. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Tom, and a second from Xavier. Okay, all in favor?
As I said, I'm not
Oh.
voting on this. I'm
So
recusing
you'll be
myself.
abstaining,
Yes.
right? Okay, so all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, abstentions?
Me.
Christine, and anybody against? No. Okay, very good. Thank you, Ms. McCoy. Okay, so I guess, Jim, you went crazy on me. So personnel, or are we to personnel, I believe, right? Oh, no, yeah.
Personnel. I have a little issue here.
No problem. Take your time. I thought you were waiting on me to do something. I got nervous.
Just bear with me for 1 second.
You guys can tolerate. Yeah, no, that's fine. I wonder how many people are here with us from
47.
the, 47?
That's what I said.
No. Really?
Yeah, you can scroll to the right if you want to see who they are. See the little blue
No, I'm
arrow?
afraid to do any of that. I'm afraid I'll lose you guys, and that'll be the end of it all for me. You should have seen me before. I was like,
On the bottom, it says 47 participants.
oh, very good. Okay. You guys are more daring than me. I'm like, take my hands off. I swear. I'm like, if it's working, I'm not touching it.
We should do this more often.
Yeah.
You know what
right.
the issue was? I'll tell you what the issue was. I forgot that I was looking at it in public view, so I didn't see what I was looking for. My apologies.
Oh, right, because you're not looking at your
Yeah,
own
I mean,
copy.
you
Right,
share-
that
I know
makes
it's there,
sense.
but it's not an issue.
Okay. Yep, I
Sorry.
gotcha. Oops.
Can everybody see it?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
So I'm asking for board approval of personnel items on schedules 5, 7, 8, 10, 13, 15, 16, and 22.
Very good. All right, can I get, thank you, Christine. Second?
Second.
Second from Linda, I believe. A
Yes.
motion and a second on the table. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, any opposed? All right, very good. Thank you, folks. And then finally, I think, Dr. Acker, that brings us to you.
It is upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools that the Board of Education approves items I through N on tonight's business agenda.
Okay, we all got that. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
Thank you, Michelle, and a second.
Second.
Christine, thank you.
Before you take the vote, Jen, just a couple of things that are a little unusual here.
Yes.
There is the third scope education services contract that you've gotten some, actually have a whole load of things on the update, in the upcoming update on that. But that is a contract that was just approved for us to conduct an emergency child care program in district.
Oh, that's great.
Basically, it started already, but this had to go along with it. So this was just approved by several prominent school district attorneys. So this allows us to do what we're doing as a host district. There is another agreement that is for districts that would be sending children to another district. We fortunately use scope for before and after care, so we are a host district. And if any district wants to send their kids here, I have a copy of an intermunicipal agreement that we would enter. Like, for example, I did get a question from the Cold Spring Harbor superintendent. If they had kids and we had room, would we be willing to accept? And I don't have a problem with it as long as the board doesn't, as long as there's spots there, but we'd have to enter into that agreement. Doesn't exist yet. We do that for the, we could do that on an after the case happens basis if needed. But that's the third contract there.
That's very nice.
The other, just to point out, there are, all right, hang on one second. If you go to memoranda of agreement, the ATH MOA is there. You know what that's about. The SHAHA MOA that carries us to 2023 is there. And there is also a resolution that allows us to continue paying our non-contractual employees. They are not covered by an existing bargaining agreement. There is actually a resolution that includes all of the individuals involved there, and it includes our daily recurring substitutes.
Okay, I have a question just back about the childcare. Is that predominantly for first responders kids, or is that for anybody who's in a situation where they're desperate for childcare?
So first preference goes to the children of healthcare workers and first responders, and then the next year those who use the SCOPE program already. We are working out exactly how the money is going to flow there. Like I said, I'm trying to make sure that exactly what you just said, the healthcare workers, first responders, that their kids are taken care of. They need to get to work.
Yeah, they do.
The next couple of weeks are going to be critical, and this allows them, if they want to use this service, to do it.
That's great, because I'd like to be able to support them however we possibly can. They're right in the trenches. So, all right, folks, did anybody else have any other questions or comments for Jim?
I do have one question. The emergency purchasing resolution, is that only for Chromebook chargers? Would we have to approve again if something else comes up, like an online? program or something.
All right, so that's also an interesting question. The actual forgiveness in terms of emergency purchases and not going through the bid process was really more for cleaning supplies. But then we did have something in board policy that allowed us to do this in an emergency situation. So we could have to do it again. I don't think we will, because at this point, for those that don't know, we are producing our own very school district friendly but good solid hand sanitizer. We are well prepared for cleanliness at this point, but that emergency purchase was above the bid threshold, so technically it would be something we'd have to bid on if it were not under emergency circumstances. So we did purchase chargers. The Wi-Fi was something else we were considering for an emergency purchase. We ended up tearing up a $50,000 purchase order because Altice rightly came back and said, we're not going to charge you for this. And we did purchase a small collection of portable hotspots in the event that somebody was in an area where they couldn't access Altice Wi-Fi. I don't think that would happen in and around the center of Huntington or Huntington Station. It may happen up in toward the North Shore area, but if they have their own Wi-Fi there, it wouldn't be an issue. But we do have devices just in case.
That's great.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, anybody else? Okay, we have a motion and a second on the table for the business.
Just going back to the hand sanitizer, the hand sanitizer has 65% alcohol, and the 65% alcohol is at the level that is appropriate for a school.
That was an excellent procurement given the times that we're in right now. I can't believe you even managed to get your hands on that. All right, we have a motion and a second, and so I'm looking all in favor. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, anyone opposed? All right, very good. Thank you very much. Christine, are you there?
We must have lost her.
I think we lost Christine. So what I'm going to do you want me to read or Jim, maybe you could just do it, read the couple donations that we got since you have them in front of you.
Where did she go?
I think her computer
She said it was her computer.
Yeah, something happened. She'll be back, I think. But in the meantime, we won't wait around.
We have a donation from the Gilmore family, and this will basically initiate the Michael Samuel Gilmore Memorial Scholarship Fund. I'm sure you know what has transpired to bring us to that point, but we'd like to thank the Gilmore family for doing this in Michael's name and in support of a child at Huntington High School. So thank you to Robin family. Then there is a grant in the amount of $5,875.36 to support 10 different grants. These are the SEPTA grants. So
very good.
That's great.
Yes, a very big thank you to both of them. These are going to go to good things. So, all right, that brings us down to our final board member comments, I believe, correct? Or no, I guess we have a second public commentary?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I hear there's a whole bunch of you out there. If there's anybody at this point that would like to make a comment during public commentary, you can let us know. You would have 3 minutes, and we're just looking for you to state your name and your affiliation to the district.
All right, Jen, just one little clarification on the sanitizer. The stuff that George is making with that machine is primarily for use in cleaning the rooms.
Okay, not for hand sanitizers.
Hand sanitizer at this point.
That's an excellent distinction, actually. That makes good sense. Okay, I don't believe that we have anybody that wanted to step forward for public commentary. So that brings us to the final board remarks. Did anybody want to say anything? Okay, I'm just going to say one thing because I know we have 60-something people out there from what I've been told. I want to thank you all very much, not only for joining us tonight for this unprecedented and odd board meeting, but just for hanging in there and supporting the district the way you've all been doing. We really appreciate everybody pulling together We appreciate your patience, and we appreciate your community spirit. And we appreciate that, you know, you are giving us your faith that we will get things set back on track just as soon as humanly possible. I want to also say one more time, Jim and your team, and to all the staff members out there that are listening, James, please let them know we are eternally grateful to you for everything you're doing for our children to try and make sure that they're not just losing this time. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much.
Hey, Jen, we have one person with their hand raised.
Oh, very good. Thank you. Okay, so.
User. There you
Hello,
go.
can I be heard?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, my name is Oscar Kilgore. I'm a student, a senior at Huntington High School.
Hi, Oscar.
Hi, I just had a question regarding the grades for quarter 3. Would anybody consider maybe making quarter 3 and possibly quarter 4 for the schools, or at least Huntington High School, a pass-fail, or where students have the options to do pass-fail for some of their courses?
That's a good question.
I know that's a tough question to answer right now, but
No, it's an excellent question, actually. I just don't know if it's answerable at this moment. Jim?
Yes, Oscar, what I can tell you is that there will be an adjustment made. There's a number of things that we're looking at right now. One of them is what you just mentioned, pass-fail. There was some consideration of maybe looking at a combination of quarters 3 and 4. But what we do is certainly not going to be anything that would, in math, negatively impact the students at Huntington High School or anywhere else throughout the district. So just know that we're working on every detail as quickly and as comprehensively as we can. And we'll also be speaking to other districts about possibly doing this in a manner that makes sense for all districts so that we're all on the same page and there's not one district that is doing something a little bit unique that doesn't make sense while other districts are doing things that do make sense. So we're going to be on this, and we will let you know as soon as a decision is made.
All right, thank you very much. And somebody just commented a question. I don't know if you see that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
there is
I
a question.
just got that. Thank you. Okay, so what it says is, do you have an idea if New York State Regents will be canceled? Jim, do you have any information on that?
That's another excellent question, and it is an unanswerable question at this point. If you saw, there was an article in Newsday yesterday about whether or not they will be held. I can tell you that decisions have been made on the advanced placement exams at this point, but not on the Regents exams. Those are very specifically in the state education department's hands, but as soon as I have information on where they're going, it may also depend on whether or not school is going to open at some point in April or May or whenever the case may be. I do not have another question that should come up at some point if it hasn't already. Right now, we are on calendar to reopen schools on April 1st or in that area. I do not think that's going to happen. There will probably be an executive order that comes out this week that extends the period of closure. As soon as I have that information in hand, I will blast it out there promptly.
Very good. And I saw that.
The question about the
Follow-up.
flat fee. If one region if the regions go, the flat fee will go as well.
Okay, so it's an all or nothing kind of a thing. Either the state regents are going to pay. You're welcome. That was very polite. Glad you came.
Just keep getting your work done to the best of your abilities. Whatever support you need, we're all here. We're here for you.
We're right behind you. Do your best. You can't do better than your best. All right, anybody else out there? Okay, then I guess I'm going to, Jim, did you have anything final to finish with before we motion to adjourn? Okay, then I'm looking. I'm sorry, go ahead.
For patience with the Zoom platform. I know it's the first time we're doing this, and hopefully we'll not have to use it that many times moving forward, but it is actually a nice option to have available, so it does work.
It really did, and it was really much more seamless than I expected, except for the very beginning for me. So anyway, again, I appreciate everybody's flexibility. My fellow trustees, thank you so much for all hanging in there and bumping along with me. I am looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Tom, of course, Tom. Where's my second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. I wish you
Thank you
all
again.
health.
Good night.
Stay well,
Thank you
everybody.
again,
Stay
Jim and
well.
teachers. Thank
Hey,
you
thank you
all.
everyone for showing up.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, thank you to all of
Bye-bye.
our public for coming. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.